Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and really get to the heart of the information that matters to you. And today, we're diving into something super relatable, something that really impacts all of us, our daily routines. Our mission really is to unpack this conversation we looked at about personal habits. We want to reveal just how much our daily actions, the small stuff, actually shapes our whole lives. We've got some great practical examples, some real-world stuff, and maybe some surprising common threads that lead to some actionable takeaways. Because, let's face it, how we live each day, well, it actually matters a lot.
It really does. Our habits fundamentally shape our lives.
Yeah.
And, it's fascinating because routine, they might seem like just boring stuff we do, right, on autopilot, but they're actually this incredibly rich area for understanding productivity, well-being, even our biology. The small details often tell the biggest story.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. Where do we start? Usually the morning, right? How do our days typically kick off? If we look at Emma's routine, it feels pretty familiar. Wakes up around 7 a.m. But she admits, hits snooze maybe 2-3 times. So she's actually dragging herself out of bed more like 7:20, 7:30.
Right. That classic snooze battle.
Totally. And the very first thing she does, grabs the phone, checks messages. She even calls it probably a bad habit.
Yeah, she's aware of it.
Right after that, it's like total shutdown mode. No talking, no thinking, just coffee. Her words.
Ah, the caffeine necessity.
Then, okay, she does carve out about 10 minutes for some stretching or light yoga. Then shower, get dressed. And sometimes, if there's time, a podcast or audiobook.
Okay, so a slower start, phone first, then coffee, then a bit of movement.
Exactly. Now, let's contrast that with Jake. He's up earlier, around 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
And his first move, not the phone. He goes for a short run or walk, like 15-20 minutes.
Oh, interesting. Straight into physical activity.
Yeah, and he says it actually helps him wake up better than coffee sometimes.
I believe it. That movement gets the blood flowing.
After the exercise, he makes breakfast eggs, oatmeal, something substantial. But then, here's what seems like a really key step. He sits down to plan his day, writes out his top 3 tasks.
Ah, the planning habit. That's huge. What's fascinating here really is looking at those immediate, first actions after waking up. That common struggle Emma has, reaching for the phone, it's not just a bad habit, as she says. It actually primes your brain for reactivity.
Reactivity, how so?
Well, you're immediately responding to other people's demands, right? Messages, emails, social media notifications. It puts you in a defensive posture from the get-go, making it harder to set your own agenda.
Okay, that makes sense. You're reacting, not acting.
Exactly. Compare that to Jake, starting with movement. That's not just waking him up physically. It releases endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, natural mood boosters, focus enhancers. It's a much more sustainable way to start than just a caffeine hit.
Right. But, Jake sounds quite disciplined. That morning run, the planning. What if you're just not a morning person? Or, planning feels overwhelming first thing.
That's a really good question. Because Jake's way works, but it's definitely not the only way.
Okay.
For someone who isn't a morning exerciser, maybe just 5 minutes of gentle stretching. Or even just sitting and breathing deeply for a minute before the phone. It's about creating that tiny buffer. Just a little space of intention.
A buffer. I like that.
And the planning. Yeah, top 3 tasks is great, but maybe too much for some. Even just taking 60 seconds to think, okay, what's the one thing that absolutely needs to happen today that can give you direction?
So it doesn't have to be this huge production.
Not at all. It's these micro habits, right? They build up. They have a macro impact over time without feeling overwhelming day to day.
Okay, so the morning kind of sets the stage. But then comes the main chunk of the day, the productive hours. This is where it gets really interesting, looking at how the day actually unfolds. Emma, she starts work around 9, does a mix of things, writing, video editing, emails, planning content.
Typical creative or knowledge work.
Yeah. And a key habit for her, she says, is taking breaks every hour. Just stands up, stretches, grabs some water.
Okay, regular movement breaks. Smart.
And Jake, he's also mostly at a desk, teaching or recording. He really emphasizes breaks, too. He says, if I don't take breaks, I get super tired by lunch. Very clear about that.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm.
sustain energy, focus,
Hmm.
it's clear why they both do this. It's not just about feeling less tired physically. There's this concept called ultradian rhythms. Basically, our brains naturally cycle between periods of high focus and lower focus, roughly every 90 minutes or so.
Ultradian rhythms. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, so these short breaks, even just 5 minutes of standing up, stretching, looking away from the screen every hour, it lets your brain kind of reset during those lower focus periods. It actually improves your ability to solve problems when you come back. It's not just about preventing burnout, it's about working with your brain's natural energy cycles, not against them.
Wow. So the brain isn't meant to just go full throttle for hours straight.
Right. Absolutely not. It thrives on these pulses of activity and rest.
Okay, that makes the hourly breaks make so much more sense. So after that morning push, we get to lunch, that midday reset. Jake usually eats around 1 p.m. Tries to keep it light, he says. Chicken and rice, maybe a salad.
Good strategy. Avoids the heavy, sleepy feeling.
Right. And then, this seems crucial, he takes a 10-minute walk outside. Always. He calls it a rule. Walk after lunch, no matter what.
That's commitment and a powerful habit.
Emma, though, she eats around the same time, 12:30 or 1. But she admits she sometimes skips the walk.
Ah.
And she knows it's a bad idea because then she feels sleepy afterwards.
And that really highlights a critical point Jake implicitly makes. Sitting all day is dangerous. It's not just about calories.
Right.
His no matter what rule for that walk, it directly fights against sedentary behavior. And being sedentary doesn't just affect your weight, it impacts your metabolism, your cardiovascular health, even your brain function long term. It definitely contributes to that mid-afternoon slump.
Yeah, that post-lunch fog is real.
Totally. So that short walk Jake takes, it's powerful. It gets the blood moving again, combats the sleepiness, improves circulation to the brain. You genuinely get better mental clarity afterwards.
But Emma skipping the walk sometimes. I mean, that feels relatable too. Life gets busy.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jake's super strict rule the only way? Or can you still get benefits with something less rigid?
That's very practical, yeah. Look, Jake's rule works because it removes the decision making. It's automatic. That's powerful for habit building.
Okay.
But is it the only way? No. Even a 5-minute walk makes a difference. Or just getting up, walking around the office or house, doing a few stretches away from the desk. The main goal is to interrupt the prolonged sitting. Find the minimum effective dose that works for you consistently.
Minimum effective dose. I like that. It sounds achievable.
Exactly. Consistency with something small often beats sporadic bursts of perfection.
Okay, so we've covered mornings, the workday grind, lunch. What about winding down? How does this all play out in the evenings and getting ready for rest? Jake, after work, he relaxes a bit, might watch a short YouTube video, call a friend. Dinner around 7 p.m.
Okay, some decompression time.
Yeah. And he makes a conscious effort, he says, to stay away from screens for at least an hour before bed.
Ah, the screen-free hour. The holy grail.
Right. Emma's trying that too, she mentioned. Reads a book, maybe journals a little bit. She aims for bed by 10:30 p.m., but admits sometimes it's more like midnight.
Mm-hmm. The struggle is real. And this really brings up that huge issue of screen time before bed, doesn't it? And its impact. Jake notes that direct link. When I sleep earlier, I wake up in a better mood. That points straight to keeping your circadian rhythm aligned.
Our internal body clock.
Exactly. Your body thrives on regularity, and that blue light from phones, tablets, computers, it messes with melatonin production. It basically tells your brain, hey, it's still daytime, stay awake.
Right when you want it to wind down.
Precisely. And Emma's insight, sleep is everything. She really nails it. It's not just about feeling rested. Consistent sleep patterns, good quality sleep. It's tied to mood, focus, immune function, even how effectively your brain cleans out waste products overnight.
So it's not just the hours you sleep, but the consistency and the wind down routine.
Absolutely. That consistent bedtime and the screen-free wind down are probably the biggest drivers of sleep quality.
Okay, but we see Emma knows sleep is everything, yet she still struggles with that consistent bedtime. It sounds like me sometimes. What's going on there? Why is it so hard to do the obvious good thing?
That's such a key question. Often it's not about not knowing. It's about, well, psychological barriers or just plain lack of energy at the end of the day.
Hmm.
You hear about revenge bedtime procrastination. People feel they didn't get enough me time during the day, so they steal it back from sleep, even though they know they'll regret it.
Yeah. Scrolling instead of sleeping to feel like you have some control.
Exactly. Or just the instant gratification of one more episode, one more chapter, one more scroll. It's just more appealing in the moment than the delayed reward of feeling better tomorrow.
So how do you fight that?
A lot of it comes down to making the good choice the easy choice, setting up your environment for success,
Right.
like charging your phone in another room, not by your bed, having a book you actually want to read right there, making your bedroom a screen-free zone. Removing the temptation makes it easier to resist when your willpower is low at night.
Environment design. Makes sense. Wow.
Yeah.
This has been a really rich look at how just two people navigate their days, but the insights feel universal. And it gives us some fantastic, really actionable takeaways. We've kind of distilled 4 simple shifts inspired directly by Emma and Jake that maybe you could consider. First one, inspired by Jake, that phone-free morning. Just try it. Don't grab your phone right away.
Yeah.
Give yourself maybe 10 minutes first. Breathe, stretch, drink water, anything before reacting to the world.
Set your own tone.
Second, from Emma's wisdom, even if she finds implementation tricky sometimes, prioritize your day. Take just a few minutes, maybe like Jake does. List your top 3 things, or even just the top 1 thing. It brings focus.
Clarity is key. Avoids that feeling of being busy but not productive.
Third, back to Jake and his breaks.
Yeah.
The power of regular breaks. Seriously, take them. Even 5 minutes every hour. Stand up, move around. It works with your brain's natural rhythms, keeps you fresh.
Yeah, prevents fatigue, boosts focus. It's not wasted time, it's an investment.
And finally, drawing from both Emma's goal and Jake's experience, cultivate a consistent sleep routine. Aim for the same bedtime and wake-up time. Even on weekends, if you can manage it.
Consistency is powerful for that circadian rhythm.
And definitely try to minimize screens for at least an hour before bed. Read, listen to something calming, talk to someone. Your body, your mood will thank you.
Yeah, these tips really show that it doesn't have to be some massive life overhaul, does it? There's simple, accessible shifts. Small changes, done consistently. That's where the real magic happens in improving energy, focus, just overall well-being. It's about tuning into your own natural rhythms.
So we've taken this deep dive today into the nitty-gritty of daily routines, seeing how these simple habits, these small choices, really can shape everything. And maybe the most powerful takeaway is just this. Perhaps take one idea from today's deep dive. Just one. And try it tomorrow. Start small, see how it feels, tweak it. That's the key, right? Experimenting and finding what works for you. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. Lots to think about.